You're watching BBC London. I'm Asad Ahmed. This is what's on the programme tonight. Big Brother is watching you. Facial recognition cameras go live at some London train stations in a 6-month trial.
If you're on the watch list, it will notify an officer who can then think about the next steps and think about what action to take. If you're not on the watch list, your data is immediately and permanently deleted.
But are they reliable enough? Also on the programme. Drivers are told this frustrating news that the Albert Bridge in West London may be closed to vehicles for up to a year.
I'm in Chinatown taking a temperature check of the hospitality industry as we head into the weekend's Lunar New Year celebrations.
And for the first time in 400 years, London's historic Banqueting house is holding its first iftar for those fasting for Ramadan. Very good evening. If you travel by train, you may have spotted live facial recognition cameras watching you at some of our major train stations. It's part of a trial which British Transport Police believe will be a game changer, in their words. The cameras scan faces and compare them with a watch list of people wanted for serious offences. But not everyone's in favour of them. There are concerns about privacy and the camera's reliability. Here's Layla Hayes.
Scanning faces in the crowd. Here at Euston Station, British Transport Police are using live facial recognition cameras to try and catch criminals. They say it's a game changer.
Effectively, if somebody walks through the station, the camera has a zone of recognition. So if you walk through that zone of recognition, the system just checks your facial images quickly against the system. If you're on the watch list, it will notify an officer who can then think about the next steps and think about what action to take. If you're not on the watch list, your data is immediately and permanently deleted.
Police say this technology is at the cutting edge of fighting crime and will keep passengers safe. But privacy campaigners have serious concerns.
The Met is now facing a legal challenge over its use of the cameras from campaigners who say the technology is being expanded without proper safeguards.
We could perhaps make society safer by putting cameras in every single bedroom, living room and kitchen in the country. But the fact is that in a free society, we have this discussion between privacy and security, and that is supposed to happen in democratic institutions. It's not supposed to be the case that police just deploy technology and wait for the rules to catch up.
Back at Euston, passengers we spoke to seemed fairly relaxed.
Yeah, I'm all for it. I think at the end of the day, if you have nothing to hide, you're just be open, just be honest. Because obviously criminals are around, we need to make sure we're tracking down criminals. So it's a good idea, but I'm not got concerns. I'm not a criminal, so I'm fine.
I think it's better to be able to identify criminals in a crowd. I feel safer for them being there.
The cameras are now being trialled at stations across London. So if you think you're being watched, there's every chance you might be. Layla Hayes, BBC London.
Sonia Jessup, our Home Affairs correspondent, I know you've been looking at this subject for some time. The British Transport Police, they're trialling this for 6 months, but isn't there a High Court case going on at the moment?
There is. Now, that's focused on the Met Police. Two campaigners are arguing that there aren't adequate safeguards for the way it's expanding LFR as it's known. There's no specific legislation that regards its use. One of those campaigners, Sean Thompson, was mistakenly misidentified by LFR a couple of years ago. The campaigners argue that without limits on where it's used, it could be that impossible for people to travel across London without having their biometric data being processed. Now, the Met, on the other hand, argue that with thousands of wanted suspects, it's a bit like looking for a needle in a huge haystack. So LFR identifies people who would otherwise be missed. Now, that High Court hearing took place last month, but we've got to wait for a judgment to be handed down.
And why are they trialling this at train stations as opposed to tube stations, bus stations?
Well, the Home Secretary has said that she wants every police force in England and Wales to be using LFR. And there have been some who've called for it to be used more widely, including, you might remember, following that knife attack on a train in Huntingdon last November. Now, British Transport Police says this pilot is not in relation to that. But it says that it has seen some great results from other forces, and it wants this pilot to explore whether it helps to keep the public safe and also the public response to it as well.
OK. Sonia Jessup, thank you very much. BBC London has learned that the Albert Bridge between Chelsea and Battersea may be closed to traffic for up to a year. Cracks were detected earlier this month, causing a headache for drivers who need to find alternative routes. Well, the bridge was already taking on extra vehicles due to the long-term closure of nearby Hammersmith Bridge. Looking into what's going on is Lee Milner.
Albert Bridge in West London. It looks beautiful, but this 150-year-old crossing which connects Battersea to Chelsea is starting to crumble. During a routine maintenance check, the local council found cracks in one of the cast iron components. Now repairs are underway and checks are being made using ultrasonic technology to make sure it's safe. But while the bridge remains open to pedestrians and cyclists, motorists might have to wait up to a year for it to reopen.
We've been in touch with TfL to ask them to reopen some of the turns that have been banned in recent years into Battersea Bridge and Chelsea Bridge. It is really difficult for people that need to travel north to south and vice versa, and we want it open to cars as soon as we possibly can.
Either side of Albert Bridge is mainly residential. The locals who use it have mixed views about its closure.
It doesn't affect me at all. I don't drive, so I walk through the park a lot. So it's a bit like when COVID was on. You know, I can hear birds singing and there's no cars. So, yeah, I don't care if it becomes a pedestrian bridge.
Basically, it's getting the car across to the other side. So either Battersea Bridge or Chelsea. But
how much extra time does that add onto your journey? Because sometimes that can be gridlock, can't it?
20 minutes, I'd say.
I usually try and come up Albert Bridge because it's hell on Battersea Bridge, quite frankly. There's too many traffic lines feeding in and it's very slow.
The Albert Bridge closure comes as Hammersmith Bridge marks its 7th year being closed after cracks started to appear in the Grade 2 listed structure. In total, there are 35 main bridges across the River Thames in London, most of which were built during the Victorian era.
We have the greatest collection of bridges, I think, probably of any city in the country, and so it is a bigger issue. And it can also be an issue in the way that London's organised, in that you have one borough on one side of the river and one borough on the other. And so it takes quite a lot of collaboration, which might not be the same case in other places, to get these projects off the ground.
Nicknamed the Trembling Lady because of the way it would shake when too many people walked over it at once, there's hope Albert Bridge will soon be steady again to carry Londoners across the Thames. Lee Milner, BBC London.
Well, time now to take a quick look at what else is making the news headlines today. The Metropolitan Police say it's aware of the suggestion that London airports may have been used to facilitate human trafficking and sexual exploitation following a further release of millions of US court documents relating to Jeffrey Epstein. Police say they're actively seeking further details from law enforcement partners, including those in America. A man and woman have been charged with murdering a 3-year-old boy in southeast London. Police officers were called to a hospital in Woolwich last month after concerns were raised about the boy who'd been admitted with serious injuries. He's been named as Isaiah Henry. The UK's governing body for athletics has pleaded guilty to corporate manslaughter in connection with the death of Paralympian Abdullah Hayai. He died in 2017 after a metal cage fell on him while he was training at Newham Leisure Centre in East London. UK Athletics said it deeply regretted the incident. A man who ran an animal rescue centre where 41 dogs were found dead has been jailed for 5 years. Some owners had paid for their dogs to be taken by Ovid Rahman, thinking Save a Paw would care for them. Essex Police found the dogs in squalid conditions at premises in Crays Hill near Billericay. A man has pleaded guilty to plotting to target tube passengers in a scam involving fake text messages about failed parcel deliveries. Daeun Shan was part of a gang luring passengers on the London Underground to part with their details using what were called homemade SMS blasters hidden inside suitcases. And Brent Council says it's working with communities to encourage and provide vaccinations as measles cases in North London continue to rise. Latest figures bring the total number of recorded cases in the capital to 88, with the majority occurring in children aged under 10. Now, it's the start of the Chinese New Year this week, and for the first time in 60 years, it's the year of the fire horse. It's associated with intense energy, passion and creativity, which is why we can look forward to some very colourful celebrations in London's Chinatown. It's also a great weekend for businesses there, as special events provide a welcome boost for the area. Bryony Williams has been finding out more.
The colours, the food and of course the lanterns. And with the Lunar New Year of the Fire Horse, it isn't just a time for celebrations, it's an extremely important time for trade and businesses in Chinatown.
Last year was not a great year to begin with. I think we really felt the hit of the economy. We saw the same number of people coming into the restaurant, but people just weren't spending as much. Chinese New Year changes every year. So this year it's landed on half term, which is such a blessing for all the Chinese restaurants because it means that we see families and we see people getting together with different generations. But if we don't have that, then it can be really difficult. But this is an important time of year for us because we see a lot more people than we normally would. Some days even double what we used to see, yeah.
It's a welcome boost for a sector that is vital for the London economy and employs thousands of people in the capital. But even though there's an upturn now because of the Lunar New Year, the following months could be tricky.
We're very fortunate that Chinatown's done very well. We get so many tourists coming in, whether from the UK or from abroad, and we're very happy that they're coming here. I think we're insulated a little bit better than places outside London. Chinatown has very high costs and rates with the national insurance employers' contributions going up so much, and in the minimum wage. It puts a lot of pressure on all hospitality restaurants in Chinatown.
On top of this, cafes and restaurants are having to adapt to changing consumer habits.
I wouldn't really go inside a restaurant, so I'd sooner just go to these little places and get like little takeouts and snacks. Yeah, my daughter likes to get things like that, so rather than sit down.
We've been to places that have been expensive and we won't go back.
Yeah. Here we spend like, I think, £30, but it's okay. I mean, in Italy we spent less.
A lot less.
A lot less, but it's okay because we have all you can eat.
Recently, a Treasury spokesperson said we're protecting pubs, restaurants and cafes with the budget's £4.3 billion support package. And it seems half-term and New Year's festivities, especially the food, are Chinatown's very own support package for the year of the Fire Horse.
The horse represents determination, it represents speed, it represents going after what you want. Fire is a high-risk, high-reward situation. So if you are thinking of something that's a little bit risky, go for it because you might be rewarded this year. During Chinese New Year, we would always have a whole fish because having a head and a tail means a good start and a good end. And we have fish because the meaning of fish is surplus. So the character for fish, yu, is the same as having plenty of. So we want you to have a year of abundance. So we would definitely always have a whole steamed fish and we would always leave a little bit because having leftover means that you're going to have plenty and more.
Let's hope that's the case. Bryony Williams, BBC London.
Wow, very good weekend ahead there. Now the time has just turned 6:44, still to come on BBC London this evening. The story of Meatball, the fox from Hackney who's befriended two flatmates who saved her life. Well, it's that time on a Friday when we take a quick glance at the football this weekend. The BBC Radio London team, I can tell you, won't have the chance to catch their breath with so many matches. Leading the top team, Mr. Phil Parry.
We start early on Total Sport tomorrow with Queen's Park Rangers' trip to Hull, followed by Brentford at home to Brighton and Millwall hosting Portsmouth, before finishing the day with West Ham United's home game against Bournemouth. On Sunday, there's two Premier League commentaries, with Crystal Palace at home to Wolverhampton Wanderers, and then the big one at 4:30, the North London derby, as Igor Tudor's first game in charge of Tottenham Hotspur sees his side take on table toppers Arsenal.
Yeah, a huge derby that'll be. Now, last year, King Charles held an iftar, or breaking of the fast, at Windsor Castle. It was the first time it had been done in 1,000 years. This Ramadan, which is the holy month of fasting for millions of Muslims, a stunning London building commissioned by King James I over 400 years ago, is doing the same thing. Muslims and non-Muslims, it has to be said, applied for free tickets, and it was heavily oversubscribed. A short time ago, Alice sent this report from Banqueting Hall on Whitehall.
Well, we are here under the famous Rubens ceiling here at Banqueting House in the heart of Westminster, just a stone's throw away from the Houses of Parliament, in this glorious building where around 400 people have signed up to break their fast here this evening. It's the latest Open Iftar 2026 for Ramadan. And I spoke to the organiser just a little bit earlier.
We've picked the theme of hope because we felt that during the build-up to the end of 2025, going into 2026, we felt with all of the issues that are happening around the world and here at home, that we need hope in our lives. And I think this is testament to the fact that Ramadan is a month of renewal. It's a month of hope. It's a month where many Muslims around the world fast during this blessed month, the holiest month in the Islamic calendar, with an intention to seek hope, to seek optimism.
Well, the event truly got underway here just a short while ago with the calling to prayer, and now people are enjoying their meal. I spoke to some of them.
Love communal meals. I love sharing food, breaking bread with strangers, with friends. This is the friend I arrived with. This is the new friend that I just met while I'm here. What a gorgeous location. What a fantastic place. And I'm sure the food will be delicious as well. So it's a very London thing for me. I mean, I know it exists in other places as well, but for me, this is the epitome of London.
Oh, it's a beautiful experience. I haven't been for a very long time. It started on the steps of like the green outside of university, and I haven't come back since. But it's a beautiful sign of unity. Seeing the diverse group here is just amazing, and seeing the Muslims so comfortable in such a historic site is just fascinating. It's a real honour to be here, and the team worked so hard, and just beautiful to break fast with everyone.
So it's one of many Ramadan events taking place here in London. For the Open Iftars, you do have to sign up, but you are guaranteed a treat. They take place in some of London's most magnificent venues, like this one at Banqueting Hall in Westminster.
Yeah, there's another one at the Silverstone Grand Prix circuit as well, I think. Now, whether you realise it or not, you're never far away from a fox in London. There are thousands of them here, and they normally tend to keep away from humans. That is, unless they strike up a friendship, like a fox did in Hackney. It started after two flatmates stepped up to help the animal in their garden. The fox, now named Meatball, has stayed in touch as a thank you, I suppose, and is now also a TikTok star. Wendy Hurrell has the story.
A regular visitor to this flat in Hackney.
What you doing, girlie?
But last year, the red fox first showed up in an awful state.
She looked like a giant rat. She was just grey and shivering.
Blakely and her flatmate contacted the animal charity Fox Angels Foundation, who gave their advice.
They just said, look, it looks like really bad mange. Try to feed her and get her to come to you, and we'll send you medicine.
Go get Meatball, go get it.
We were feeding her meatballs, and we were just trying to think of something to call her. So we just started calling her Meatball.
Meatball is one of many urban foxes that have a tough life. The Fox Project rescues and rehabilitates around 1,400 of the worst cases a year. But all animal welfare charities have to weigh up the stress caused by trapping and treating them.
It's much, much better to treat them on site if possible, and Meatball was one of those. We won't send medication to anybody that can't target feed the fox. And mange is something that they catch very easily when their immune system is low. And by feeding good quality food, it's a good boost to the immune system.
Baby.
How much of a bond did you
perform with her?
Oh, like we loved her. She would often just come up to against the window and stand up here, especially if we're watching TV. She sometimes looked like she was watching the TV with us. There's a couple times my flatmate said he would just be in the kitchen and then he'd look over and she'd be over here before he'd notice and she'd see him and then run away.
Meatball is now a TikTok star.
This is Meatball now.
When her post went viral.
In a world in which we're often bombarded with terrible news and like depressing stories, it's actually just like a nice thing to come across. And so I think it's really resonated with people, and like all the doom scrolling, to have something very sweet and wholesome happen.
Stop here, there's Meatball's ill face.
Wendy Hurrell, BBC London.
Now, Jennifer Saunders, the acclaimed writer, actress and one of the most influential figures in British comedy, received the Icon Award at the Newport Beach Film Festival in London last night. Best known for creating and starring in Absolutely Fabulous and for being one half of the brilliant French and Saunders comedy duo team, Jennifer took a moment to speak with Michael Mackenzie.
I'm here at the Newport Beach Film Festival Honours List, and I'm so pleased to say Jennifer Saunders joins us now. Well, congratulations, Jennifer, on your Icon Award.
I know, stiff competition there. What I love is when you get to a certain age, you just get special awards. It's like I don't even have to pretend to like the competition.
No, I mean, you've got loads of awards. You've won BAFTAs. You know, BAFTAs are this weekend. What does it mean to win the Icon Award?
Well, I've been waiting for it all my life. I think it's well overdue. I shall be bathing in it. I shall be riding it for all it's worth.
And will you be going to the BAFTAs at the weekend?
No, I never get invited now.
And then what advice would you give Jennifer to, the next generation of writers, comedians, actors?
Well, it's so hard. The thing is, you've just got to do it. You can take as much advice as you want, but you've really got to have faith in yourself and try it and fail a lot. You've got to fail a lot.
Now, I heard you're going to be treading the boards again this summer in the theatre?
Yes, I'm going to do the Bath Festival. I'm in Edward Bond's The Sea at the Theatre Royal in Bath, which I'm so looking forward to because I love that theatre. I love doing theatre.
And Jennifer, you've had an amazing career. You've still got an amazing career. What is it you've been?
Thanks for the qualification there. Yes, keep it up.
But going back to like French and Saunders and all Absolutely Fabulous. I mean, you've got a repertoire of amazing work.
Yeah, I mean, but I've lived a long time. So that's a few things a year, But I've been, I think, extremely lucky. I've worked with lovely people. I refuse to thank them. I have been very fortunate. But we've also worked very hard, and we had the luck to get on television when we were very young, and were able to do what we wanted to do without too much interference. And I think that's probably not as possible now. So I think we sort of jumped in at the right time.
Well, look, congratulations. Have a brilliant night.
That was the brilliant Jennifer Saunders speaking to Michael Mackenzie. Well-deserved Icon Award there. Now we're going back to animals. This time it's because a Londoner and his cat Matteo have become an unlikely social media hit after videos of the pair wandering around the city have gone viral. Matteo often perches very calmly on his owner's shoulder as they travel around the capital together, soaking up the attention which they get. Now let's take a look at the forecast. Here's Ben.
Hello, good evening. You may already have started to notice that the weather is turning a little bit milder, a process that continues through the weekend. In fact, we may see temperatures peaking at 14 or 15 degrees. If you get to see some sunshine, that will actually feel relatively warm, but there certainly won't be sunshine all the time. Some rain in the forecast as well. Some rain tonight as well, largely dry through the evening, but the second half of the night will bring a zone of cloud and a few splashes of rain eastwards across our region. Temperatures, though, around 8 or 9 degrees as we start Saturday morning, and a few breaks in the cloud as well first thing. So I think we will see a few sunny spells through Saturday morning. We actually have a very, very weak and transient ridge of high pressure just toppling its way through. So mostly dry starts to Saturday, and if you do see any sunshine with these southwesterly winds and some very mild air heading our way, it could actually feel quite warm. So yes, a bit of sunshine around through Saturday morning. This is how we start off. Through the day, though, I think we will see more clouds spinning its way in from the west, and we may start to see a little bit of rain across western and northern parts of our region, but I think across Essex, Kent, the southeast of London, you may well hold on to a few bright or sunny spells even into the middle part of the afternoon. Temperatures 13 or 14 degrees. Now, as we head into Sunday, we will see some rain pushing southwards and eastwards, and actually this weather front here lingering for a time on Sunday. So some rain around first thing on Sunday morning. Uncertainty about how quickly that will clear, but I think things will turn a little drier and brighter from the northwest as we head into the afternoon, and still with that mild feel as well. Temperatures 14, maybe 15 degrees, just a chance for a few showers blowing through on a fairly brisk breeze. Now, looking further ahead into the start of next week, we stick with that mild theme. In fact, temperatures could climb to 15 or 16 degrees, really unusually mild for this time of year. We will see some sunshine for a while, but I think rain is likely to return for the second half of the week.
OK, before we go, a recap of some of the main news in the headlines today. The Metropolitan Police has urged close protection officers who've worked for Andrew Mountbatten Windsor to consider carefully whether anything they saw or heard may be relevant to the force's review of the Jeffrey Epstein files. The former prince was arrested and then released from custody yesterday under investigation for alleged misconduct in public office. He's previously denied any wrongdoing in relation to Epstein. A 6-month trial of live facial recognition technology is underway at several London railway stations. Privacy campaigners warn the stakes are high if the technology makes mistakes, but British Transport Police say it's another tool to improve safety on the rail network. Well, that's it for now. I'm back at 10:30 with our late news tonight on BBC One. If you can't join me later for any reason, I wish you a very good weekend on behalf of the BBC London team. Bye-bye.